Chief Prosecutor Karen Count, thank you for giving us this interview. It is a 5,000 bombshell news late last month that you announced requesting arrest warrant from the judges in the ICC for Senior General May Aung Hlaing. It is a big news not just for Senior General May Aung Hlaing, but also for people in Burma, particularly for the Rohingya community in the country. But lots of people don't really understand how the ICC play, the role that you play. And I want you to help me to tell our audience how the function of the ICC and the role you play. And I like to start with the question about the charges and the evidence you have against Senior General May Aung Hlaing.
The process first, I'm the Chief Prosecutor of the ICC. My office is responsible for investigating crimes within the jurisdiction of the court. We have jurisdiction in relation to Myanmar, even though Myanmar is not a state party. It is not a signatory to the Rome Statute. And our jurisdiction is because Bangladesh, which neighbors Myanmar, is. And the judges of the International Criminal Court decided in 2019 that my office would have jurisdiction in what became known as the Myanmar-Bangladesh situation when and if the prosecution could establish crimes took place within the jurisdiction of the court, as genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and at least one of the elements of the offense took place on the territory of Bangladesh, which is a state party. So based upon that, we have been investigating since 2019 the allegations regarding the crimes committed against the Rohingya people, of which 1.2 million or maybe more are currently in Bangladesh, in Kutupalong refugee camp, one of the biggest camps in the world. Many others have been dispersed into Malaysia or into Indonesia and to other parts of the world. And we've been investigating by looking at incriminating and exonerating evidence equally. Now, it's quite right that the Rohingya people have suffered a lot from 1978. They suffered a lot in 1991, 1992, and of course, the period we're looking at, 2016, 2017. Once we have the evidence, we submit it before judges of the International Criminal Court. The judges must be satisfied that we have presented evidence that demonstrate that there are reasonable grounds to believe the individuals that we have named, in this case, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, has committed crimes within the jurisdiction of the court. And the judges currently will be considering that application we submitted.
The crime that Senior General Min Aung Hlaing committed, are you charging him on the crime against humanity and the war crime? Can you please explain what crime that you are charging him?
Yes, I think I would refer your viewers to the statement. We're charging the application we've put forward deals with deportation and persecution. So these are crimes within the jurisdiction of the court. So we have these are the principal underpinnings of the crimes we've put forward.
There is a ongoing case in the ICJ for the possible genocide. Would that also include in your charges?
Well, the International Court of Justice is a completely separate court. It is a principal organ of the United Nations, and it does not deal with individual criminal responsibility. It deals with state responsibility. So the International Court of Justice is, as you have indicated, seized of an application under the interpretation of the 1948 Genocide Convention. We are the court. We're the world's only permanent international criminal court. Our jurisdiction is not states, but individuals who may be state officials, but they may not. And based upon our jurisdiction, we have filed the application that you have mentioned before our judges, which names an individual, which is Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. And the judges will determine that application in due course.
How long do you think the judges would take their decision?
Well, as for the judges, they are independent of me. They're completely impartial. They will look at the evidence we've presented, and I think they can see it's an important matter. But I don't have a time frame at the moment. I've submitted it. We've moved as quickly as we could. The team worked remarkably well. The Rohingya community have partnered with us exceptionally well. I take my hat off to them. The Rohingya community have shown that belief, that steadfast commitment to the rule of law. We've worked with partnerships, including the United Nations Independent Investigative Mechanism for Myanmar that's based in Geneva. And that mechanism was required to cooperate both with my office and also the International Court of Justice. And we're building partnerships with other stakeholders and states as well. So the judges will now decide the case based upon their own timeline and their own resources and their own assessment of the evidence. And we are, in any event, continuing our work because there will be other applications in this situation also, based upon the evidence and the analysis that we have conducted.
You stated in your earlier statements that there would be, or there could be more people that you might apply for application for the arrest warrant. Who else could that be possibly included? Would that?
I'm not going to speculate. I don't give a running commentary in terms of investigation. We have a focus. We know where we're going. We know what the evidence shows at the moment. But the message should be this: every individual with power, any person who has an ability to incite violence or calm things down, any person who can have a gun that think they can use it against civilians, they should realize very clearly from what we have applied for that the law is above all of us, that they have legal obligations, and the world is looking closely at what is happening in Myanmar, including what is happening with the Rohingya people. And one of the things I was really pleased about is this outpouring of support from so many other non-Rohingya community of Myanmar, because the law is owned not by a victim community, a targeted community by itself. We are all part of this greater island of humanity, this greater continent of humanity. And I think we need to see ourselves in the suffering of others. And I think within that is the seeds of cohesion that ultimately is necessary for Myanmar to retain its sovereignty and territorial integrity, for the different components, the different communities, the different cultures and religions and elements that make Myanmar such an amazing country with such a deep history and culture. Everybody should see themselves in the suffering of their brothers and sisters, even if they're from different parts of the country. I think that is an opportunity for a country to come together based upon our shared humanity and our equal protection under the law.